Udhiyah is a second form of sacrifice, or a third. You remember we said we sacrifice in Hajj as Hadyu Shukran, to show our gratitude for Mutamatti' and Qarin. And there is Hadyu Jubran, which is expiation for leaving an obligatory act or doing something of the prohibited acts in Ihram. And there is Udhiyah. And Udhiyah is what we offer on the day of Eid for those who do not go for Hajj, the rest of the world. And it is called Udhiyah because usually it's slaughtered at the time of Duha prayer. So it's before Zawal. It's the time of it is after the Eid prayer and the whole days of Eid and the 3 days afterwards of days of Tashriq. And it is a highly recommended sunnah, as the scholars, the majority of them say, because Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ. So offer prayer to your Lord and offer your sacrifice or slaughter. And also that Anas ibn Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, said that the Prophet ﷺ offered sacrifice with 2 rams that had horns, and they were black and white in their color, and he slaughtered them with his own hands, saying Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. And the companions, may Allah be pleased with them, some of them, like Abu Bakr and Umar, did not offer Udhiyah for the fear that people after them would consider it to be mandatory. And this indicates that it is a highly recommended sunnah, not mandatory. Otherwise, they would not have abandoned it. And what is best? To offer it or to give the money in charity, the cost of it in charity? Of course, without any doubt. Like Imam Ahmad and the vast majority of scholars, they say, to offer this ritual as a form of worship is far better and greater and more accepted than to take the money of the ram and giving it to the poor. Because this is a ritual, a form of worship. And so many times we hear them seculars and those ignorant imbeciles worldwide say, don't slaughter so many sheep. This is inhumane. This is waste of money. Give the money to the poor. They can build their homes. They can pay their bills. All of this is nonsense. All of this comes only from people who do not know Islam. Do the ritual as Allah told you to do it, as the Prophet had done it himself, ﷺ, and don't listen to these fame seekers. Part of the etiquettes of such an udhiyah, when a person wants to perform such an udhiyah, in the subcontinent they call it Qurbani. I think even in Turkey and some other countries. But again, this is the Islamic name for it, Udhiyah. When you want to offer it, and it is the beginning of the month of the Hijjah, the first 9 days or 10 days, and you intend to offer it, you need to refrain from clipping your nails or touching any of your body's hair. Period. Because the Prophet instructed this, alayhi salatu wassalam, that when the month of the Hijjah begins and one of you has the intention to offer his sacrifice for Udhiyah, then he has to refrain from clipping his nails and touching his body hair, as reported by Imam Muslim. And this is only for those who will sacrifice. So my wife, my children who are included in my sacrifice are not to be included in this prohibition of clipping the nails and touching the body hair. They are exempted. Only me. But if my wife wants to sacrifice a separate animal for herself and her parents and the likes, then she has to follow the same ruling. What to sacrifice? The same. Livestock. Camels, cows, sheep or goats. And when it comes for sheep and goats, one goat or one sheep is sufficient for the entire household. So if I live with 20 of my family members under my roof, they ate from my kitchen, my food, I sacrifice one Qurbani or one Udhiyah. And this is sufficient for the whole entire household. I can also include my ancestors, my grandparents, my dead parents, and the likes in the reward without any problem. Unlike what some people think, that each and every individual has to offer one sacrifice. No, this is not true. Because the Prophet ﷺ offered one sacrifice for himself and his all 9 wives. And I don't have to have a sacrifice or an udhiyah for my dead father, another one for my dead mom, and another one for my uncle. No, I include them all in the same animal. What if I want to sacrifice something other than a goat or a sheep? If I want to sacrifice a camel or a cow, then this is equivalent for 7 sheep. So I can share one cow with 6 other houses. 6 other individuals come with me, we become 7, and we contribute and slaughter one cow or a camel for all of us. And this does the job, alhamdulillah. So we can't have partners in one sheep? No. You and your brother can't contribute and say, okay, both of us are sacrificing a sheep. One of you has to sacrifice a sheep, not both of you. What about the conditions of the udhiyah? It's the same thing. It has to be like the hadi. It has to be from the livestock, and it has to reach a certain age, as we've stated, 5 years for the camel, 2 years for the cow, 1 year for the goat, 6 months minimum for the sheep. And it has to be free from defects. It should not have any defects in it. And these defects are mentioned in the hadith of the Prophet alayhi as-salatu was-salam, when he said there are 4 animals, the Prophet said alayhi salatu was-salam, that are not acceptable as udhiyah. The one that is obviously one-eyed. So if it has one eye only and the other one is completely gone or inside, then this is not applicable. But if it's there and it's present and we can see it, but it is defected, she cannot see with it, this is okay, because in the surface it looks like it has 2 eyes, there's no problem. But if it has an eye that is defected and gone totally, this does not work. So the Prophet said, the one that has only one eye, the one that is obviously sick, and the one that is clearly lame, and the one that is so emaciated that it can hardly stand up. These are the 4 types mentioned by the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. The one who's obviously one-eyed, and this means that there is no eye in the socket. The one who is emaciated, this refers to an animal that is extremely lean and has no fat in it, is so bonesy, there's almost no meat in it, but it's alive. This doesn't work. The third one is being obviously lame, whether the foot is broken or it's chopped off or the likes, then this doesn't work. If it's just a simple lame, then, and it can go with the herd, it can graze, it can move around, then this is okay, inshallah. Being obviously sick, this refers to an animal which is that the effects of the sickness can be visible. It's always shaky, it's always in fever, it's always feeling unable to go out with the herd and graze as a normal one. Also, the scholars added a fifth category, which is considered to be a defect, and usually the Arabs would not accept this. When an animal tail has been cut off, the fat which is in the tail of a sheep has been cut off, most of it or all of it, then this is not applicable. The scholars say this is a huge defect, and even if you slaughter a sheep for your guests and it has a tail cut off, they would be offended and not accept it, and Allah has the highest of examples. But the scholars say if the animal by birth, by nature, has no tail, in this case there is no problem in that, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best.